Hey guys, REPULSE here and welcome back to another video in Marvel Avengers. Now, I've been not playing this game for a while, so I kind of took a break from it. So recently, a couple of days ago, Kate Bishop has been added to the Marvel roster. And we're going to take a look at her skill tree. There we go. There we go. That's the one I want. So let's get into this and see what she has in her kit and what we could use. I've literally just got her, so it's a bit bland right now, but we're gonna get through all and hopefully see some pretty interesting things. So starting off with our light attacks, we have Blade Dance. Press square to quickly perform sweeping slashes with the sword that can hit multiple enemies, rapidly pressing square 4 times to combo a series of light attacks that inflict increased damage. So this is a increase per hit, low impact, stun is medium, and reaction is normal, and it has a knockback. Now we have Smoke Screen Arrow. So holding square to perform an evasive bow attack, firing an arrow that creates a cloud of smoke and inflicts additional stun damage to enemies inside the smoke. So it breaks the block, damage is low, impact is medium, stun is very high, and it also staggers the enemy. Pretty cool. Moving over here, we have Turn of Fate. Press square while sprinting to perform a leap attack with the sword, so that it also staggers enemies. That's pretty cool. We have Tornado Blade. Press square after evading to perform a 2-hit sword strike that spins enemies on the final hit. Pretty damn sweet, I think. We have Steel Talons. Pressing square while in mid-air to slash enemies with the sword, rapidly pressing square 3 times while airborne to unleash a series of strikes, juggling airborne targets. The final hit is a light combo finisher that inflicts significant damage. Damage is increased per hit, low impact, stun is medium, and normal knockback. Pretty cool. Fade Away. Hold square while in midair to quickly fire an arrow that creates a cloud of smoke. So basically like the evasive arrow here, but in midair. Pretty cool. Now we have our heavy attacks. So Vorpal Blade. Pressing triangle to perform a powerful sword strike, rapidly pressing triangle 3 times to chain together multiple attacks, exposing the enemy to follow-up attacks. The final hit is a heavy combo finisher that inflicts significant damage. Damage is medium, impact is medium, stun medium, reaction, stagger, launch, and slam. We have Demolition Charge Arrow. Hold triangle to draw a Demolition Charge Arrow and fire it at a nearby target. The arrow will stick to the surface and can be manually detonated by pressing L2 and square by shooting it. Pretty cool. We have Demolitions Expert. Pressing triangle 3 times after any signature attack or power attack to fire up to 3 demolition charge arrows to add additional targets. Sorry. We have Piercing Blade. Pressing triangle while sprinting to lunge forward, stabbing targets directly ahead with the sword and dealing large amounts of stun damage. Plungering Blade. Pressing triangle while evading to perform a focused downward strike against the target, dealing increased impact damage. We have Blade Dancer's Strike. Pressing square 3 times and triangle to chain the light attack combo into a heavy combo finisher that breaks through enemy defenses, slamming them into the ground and leaving them vulnerable to additional attacks. We have Wings of Damocles, I can't pronounce that. Pressing triangle while in midair to perform a downward slam slash with the sword, so that's pretty cool. We have Equalizer. Pressing triangle or holding triangle while in midair to draw a demolition charge and fire it at a nearby target. The arrow will stick to the surface, and holding R2 and L2 and squared, or by shooting it to detonate it. Now we go to our ranged. We have Razer Arrows. Holding L2 and R2 to fire Razer Arrows. Pretty cool. So like all your first person shooters, so it's pretty cool. You can also switch between arrows, so that's pretty cool. We have Perfect Draw. While aiming a Razer Arrow, hold R2 until the reticle flashes, then release R2 to fire a shot with the following benefits. Plus 20 damage, impact is high, critical chance is 20%. Sweet. We have Disruptor Arrow. With with the Razer Arrows selected, hold down L2 and R2 until fully charged to ready a Disruptor Arrow. The Disruptor Arrow applies the disruption debuff to any targets hit by the arrow. This debuff lasts 6 seconds and increases ranged critical attack chances from any source by 25%. Sweet. Trick shot continually to charge the Disruptor Arrow a second time to have it pierce through multiple targets, applying a disruption debuff to all targets hit by the attack. Sweet. Then we have Exploding Arrow. Hold L2 and R2 to draw it and fire it, so pretty cool. You can also switch left and right on the D-pad to switch between arrows. We have Blast Zone, continually holding R2 with an explosive arrow equipped to fully charge the arrow, increasing the explosive payload on the arrow and resulting in a larger blast radius and increased damage. High Yield charges, increasing the blast radius and force from the explosive arrow, triggering strong hits on reactions on enemies. Pretty cool. So we have its intrinsic ability, Quantum Reactor, a portable device that gathers, amplifies, and stores intrinsic quantum energy that is used to power select attacks as well as various movement abilities. Energy builds up automatically when not being used, and it is drained by various amounts depending on the actions performed. We have Quantum Blitz. Hold R2 and square to teleport over to an enemy and attacking them with a sword strike that has a 10% increased chance to inflict critical attack damage. Attack drains intrinsic energy when performed, like before. So after performing a Quantum Blitz, continue holding R2 and pressing square twice to execute a series of follow-up teleport attacks on the target. And it also has on each target with a 5% higher chance of dealing crit damage. I believe this build, the Kate Bishop, is all about crit damage. And now we have Quantum Saber. Hold R2 and triangle to teleport above an enemy, plunging the sword downwards at the target, slamming them into the ground and creating a shockwave that staggers surrounding enemies. Cool. Now for the middle tree, Quantum Shift. Pressing R2 just before an enemy attack connects to parry, teleporting behind the enemy and performing a quick sword slash, imbuing with quantum energy, staggering the nearby enemies, and mistiming the parry results in exposure to attack. Okay, so if you time it right, you can teleport behind them. If you don't, you get hit. Okay. Quantum Lift. Pressing square after a successful parry to perform a light counter attack that infuses the blade with quantum energy and launches the enemies into the air. Pretty cool. We have Quantum Arc. Pressing triangle after a successful parry to perform a heavy counter attack that then sends out a powerful shockwave of energy that can hit multiple enemies. Okay, so for the next one, after attacking enemies build up quantum energy, so that's pretty cool. I don't think it overcharges. Okay, it does. It's constantly refilled for a short period of time. Getting hit drains all energy from the overcharged meter. Okay, so reduces the amount of energy drained from the overcharged meter when hit by 20%, and then increases critical attack damage by 10% while overcharged. That's pretty cool. Now for our heroic abilities. So we have on our L1, Decoy. Hold L1 to aim, then release to throw a miniature hologram projector. The projector displays a hologram of the wielder, distracting enemies from attacking actual heroes. Though an infusion of quantum energy, the projector can create actual quantum arrows that it shoots at nearby targets, providing additional offensive support. Duration is 15 seconds. Pretty cool. We have heroic upgrades, so this is now to upgrade these ones. So Afterglow, triggering after image, regenerates willpower and intrinsic energy. Very nice. Cover fire, the decoy rapidly fires 3 shots at the target before moving on to the next one, increasing total damage against each enemy. Pretty nice. Quantum field, heroes standing near the decoy are granted the benefits of the Shadow Jacket ability, reducing incoming damage by 35%. There we go. Okay, after image. While the decoy is deployed, press L1 to create a quantum bridge, instantly switching places with the project. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Teleporting creates a shockwave at both the start and end locations, staggering enemies. Sweet. Light show extends the duration of the decoy by an additional 10 seconds. Sweet. Holding L1 while the decoy is deployed to detonate the projectile, creating a large explosion that damages nearby enemies. Sweet. So this one is still here. We have Photons Surge. Triggering the decoy to self-destruct will refund some support heroic energy. The sooner the drone is detonated after deployment, the larger the amount of energy is refunded. Only effective when the self-destruct skill is unlocked. Cool. Probability matrix. The decoy will alternate between firing quantum arrows and charged quantum arrows, which will detonate on impact, launching nearby enemies into the air. We have healing light. 20% chance the decoy will generate regen packs as it deals damage. Defeating enemies with the drone increases this chance. Sweet. We have our R1 warp arrow. So holding R1 to aim and release to fire an arrow that teleports the wielder to the point of impact. Teleporting to the arrow creates a quantum explosion that deals damage to all nearby enemies, launching them into the air. Press R1 while the arrow is still in flight to trigger the teleport early. So it's like a blink kind of thing. It's pretty cool. We have jumper, so we can have an extra warp charge. We have wormhole, creates a temporary set of portals that can be used by heroes to quickly teleport between locations. That's like a travel. That's pretty cool. Singularity, warp arrow no longer teleports the wielder to the impact location and instead creates a gravity well that pulls in nearby enemies. While caught in the effects of singularity, enemies take intimate damage. I don't know. After the quantum energy depletes, the warp arrow explodes and damaging nearby enemies. Sweet. We have Shadow Jacket. Excessive quantum energy from the warp arrow is converted into a defensive barrier which temporarily absorbs 20% of incoming damage. 3 seconds on the duration. Warp drive increases the assault heroic meter charge rate by 15%. Sweet. So now we have Void Walker. Store an additional charge for the warp arrow. Pretty good. So you can get an additional 2 arrows, so that's cool. Then we have Cloak of Oblivion, increases the duration of the Shadow Jacket ability generated when using Warp Arrow by 22 seconds. Teammates using Wormhole also receive the benefits of Shadow Jacket, only effective when the Shadow Jacket skill is unlocked. Okay, we have Quantum Overdrive, pressing L1 and R1 to continuously overcharge the intrinsic meter with quantum energy that overflows to the power of all ranged and melee attacks. Hold R2 until arrows are fully charged with energy for even greater effect. So that's cool. So here we have Quantum Storm, converts quantum arrows into rapid firing quantum energy bolts. Bolts will lodge into targets and trigger a quantum detonation. If energy bolts are embedded into a single combatant, aim with L2 and hold R2 to fire. Pretty cool. We have Quantum Scythes. Ooh, that does sound cool. Swords attacks send out an energy projectile that passes through multiple enemies. Cool. Quantum Pulse. While Quantum Overdrive is active, using the Blink, Jump, or Blink Dash ability creates a small energy explosion. Cool. We have over here Quantum Shroud activates an energy field that absorbs 20% of incoming damage for duration of the skill. Okay. Energy of Eternity. Quantum energy extends arrow around the sword, increasing the damage and impact of all sword attacks. Melee damage is increased by 15%. Increased impact to all melee damage. Flux Overflow extends the duration of Quantum Overdrive by 10 seconds. Then we have over here Quantum Flux, defeating enemies while Quantum Overdrive is active generates an immediate boost of willpower and regenerates additional willpower over time. Quantum Accelerator, assault heroic energy builds faster, 50% faster while Quantum Overdrive is active. Quantum Magnifier, Damage from all quantum energy infused attacks is increased by 10% while quantum overdrive is active. Pretty sweet, actually. Moving over to the movability, so we have dodge, we have basically a volt, cool. Then we have a teleport, which is cool. Press X while midair to teleport towards near ledges or poles. Teleporting to a pole will trigger a swing, while teleporting to ledges will trigger a quick vault over or on top of nearby ledges. Then we have blink jump, so holding R2 to blink jump, which is actually looks pretty cool. And then we have blink dash, hold R2 and press circle to perform a short range teleport forward. Pretty cool. Moving on to the mastery. Now this is going to be quite a long one, so let's get into it. We have melee upgrades, so cool. We'll go from left actually. We have flying solo, increase critical attack damage while juggling enemies in the air by 20%. We have hail half private eye, increase the critical attack damage of sprint and dodge attacks by 15%. Then we have shot taker, decrease the impact of enemy attacks at the start of a signature attack, reducing the chance of being interrupted. Cool. Ego bruiser, increase the stun damage of all melee attacks by 10%. Competitive streak, increase the damage of all combo finishes by 15%. Lasting impression, increase the damage dealt by the explosion on the demolition charge arrows by 10%. We have this takedown stuff, so taking charge, performing a takedown generates an intrinsic orb, takes downs increase a heroic orb and a regen orb. Cool. This is for the range, so heavy draw, increase damage and impact when shooting any enemy weak points with Razer Arrows. Damage 10% additional bonus damage. Impact is increased from low to medium. True shot, reduce spread when firing the scatter shot arrows, making it easier to hit hit a single target with multiple arrows. Only effective when scatter shot arrows are equipped. Concussive Blast, increase the stun damage of explosive arrows by 15%. We have, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but that does look cool. Pincushion, there we go. Trick shot will now pin a single enemy instead of passing through targets. Pinned enemies will remain stuck to the wall, floor, or ceiling for several seconds until they are able to break free. Large enemies cannot be pinned. Cool. Sure shot, increase the damage. The fully charged scatter shot arrows deal 5% for each mark on the target. Cool. Then we have recurve prodigy. Reduce the time it takes to fully draw a charge the explosive arrow by 20%. Cool. We have quick draw. Successfully performing the perfect draw on all 3 shots of the ranged combo with Razer Arrows will trigger the quick draw buff. Hold down L2 or R2 and L2 and R2 to use the buff and instantly charge up the next shot for any arrows. Only effective after unlocking the ranged power attack skill for each arrow type. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Archer's Prowess. Ready and fire 2 additional arrows when using the scatter shot arrows. Scorching surprise ranged power attacks with explosive arrows will instead shoot a demolition arrow blast. Demolition blast arrows attach to surfaces and have a time delayed proximity triggered explosive arrowhead that launches targets into the air. Cool. Now we have our intrinsic stuff, so let's do this. We have quantum capacitor 1, so increasing the maximum amount of intrinsic energy by 15%. We have quantum precision, increasing the critical attack chance of the intrinsic light and heavy attack by 15%. Quantum actuator reduces the intrinsic energy cost of the blink jump and blink dash abilities by 15%. We have quantum capacitor 2, so increasing it by 15% again. We have quantum might, increasing the damage of all intrinsic attacks by 20%. We have quantum regenerator, increasing the rate of which the intrinsic energy regenerates by 30%. Then we have our capacitor level 3 again, so 15% more. We have quantum fortitude, increasing the stun damage of all intrinsic light and intrinsic heavy attacks by 25%. We have quantum Optimizer reduces the intrinsic energy cost of the intrinsic light and intrinsic heavy attacks by 15%. We have Overcharged Mastery, reduces the amount of overcharged meter energy drained when taking damage by 20%. We have Overcharged Surge, defeating enemies while overcharge adds to the buff duration by 1 second. Overcharge Element List, while overcharge attacks increase enemy status meters 10% faster, so you can apply statuses really fast. Overcharge Finisher Boost, increasing the amount of overcharge meter energy gained from all combo finishes by 10%. Overcharge Precision Boost, increasing the amount of overcharge meter energy from ranged attacks by critical range attacks by 5%. Then we have Overcharged Dynamo, collecting intrinsic orbs will gain 15 points of overcharge meter energy. Then finally we have Critical Overcharge. Critical attack chances of melee attacks is increased by 10% while overcharged. Range attacks is increased by 10% while overcharged, and reduced damage by taken by 10% while overcharged. Now that is all your Kate Bishop skill trees. I believe she's going to have some pretty useful stuff in her kit once you unlock everything. I'm going to go ahead and go do my best to unlock the majority of this, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more Marvel Avengers, and we are so close to 450 subscribers. We may have hit it by this video when this video comes out, but if we haven't, please subscribe, turn that bell on, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.